Today's theme is who cares? The market sure doesn't care what you think. It does what it's going to do. So, little recap. In here, we were short. We had some really nice short-term trades that we were able to capitalize on during this drop. In here, before the low, we took gains on those. Here, we were selling naked out of the money puts, expecting a bounce. We got the bounce. In here, we were passive. Didn't want to do anything. I felt that that was a major resistance level. I didn't see the level of news that was going to come out and fuel a breakout above that major resistance level. Well, I was wrong. Trump did a deal with China. I didn't expect it to happen in a weekend. China's been digging their heels in, talking about how their society has survived for 5,000 years. It's going to survive the tariffs. Trump was talking 145% tariffs. Okay, I think 80% would be a fair number. How does that translate into a deal coming through last weekend? It doesn't. So what was my game plan? In here, crappy little price action. No major news on the horizon. Holiday coming up. There's not going to be a big move. That was my forecast. Okay, I was wrong in that regard, but I gave you a long and I gave you a short because I didn't know what the outcome would be, and I wanted you to have something that you could trade regardless of what happened. So let's take a look at Tesla. That was the long that I gave you. Tesla jumped Monday with the market. So would I have bought Tesla right here as it jumps to the 100-day moving average? No, that's resistance now. And if I look at the 100-day moving average, it's at roughly 323. Yesterday, however, we got follow through in the market. And yesterday we had a nice little move higher in Tesla. And then when it finally took out the high of the day right in here, that was your entry point. And notice, where did that high of the day happen? Right around that 100-day moving average. And what was the volume like when that happened? Massive. Look at that volume. That was your entry point for Tesla. Stock rallied through the course of the day, and you can see today it's actually up a lot too. So really nice trade. I hope some of you got on Tesla. I wouldn't chase it at 343 with a major run up like this. But that was a nice pick. How did my other pick fare? Well, AFRM was the short that I gave you, and I still like that as a short. So if we go into the daily chart, you can see this was the close from Friday. It had a negative earnings reaction. It's been able to rally with the market, but this 100-day moving average is still providing resistance. So it is not off to the races. If it drops back below the 200-day moving average with ease, I think that's going to set up a nice short. And I have an alert right there in case that happens. So back to the market. Now what? Now we've got this major breakout. Well, this was mainly mechanical as far as I'm concerned. So no one was expecting this big breakout. I certainly wasn't expecting it before Memorial Weekend, but we got it. And that forced a lot of short covering, and that fueled the move higher. If I look at all the tariffs in aggregate, let's say back in December, that there are no tariffs, nothing's going to change, we're just going to keep on the same course. Global demand has been declining. Are tariffs going to increase demand in those foreign countries? No, they're not. So how is any of this news going to help that? It's not going to help it. So was there an excessive amount of panic because tariffs are going to jump dramatically? Well, we have a 10% tariff base, so that's going to have some supply disruptions. 30% tariffs on China are big, okay? So that's also going to have an impact. What I'm looking at is I believe that all the government layoffs are going to start weighing on the market. In the last 2 years, we've had about 800,000 government jobs added. That's a big source of new jobs. So not only is that not going to be there, it's going to be a double whammy because you've got government layoffs. We're also hearing the same thing from companies. Yesterday, Microsoft said that they were going to be laying off a lot of employees. Okay, you see that theme recurring. So I am not gaga over this market rally, but I'm also not going to fight it. I still see that the macro conditions that I was concerned about are still there. I still think China is in deep trouble. So hopefully there's not going to be a credit crisis there, but I feel it's definitely possible. So for right now, be patient, don't chase. A breakout like this is typically going to pull back to these major moving averages, and it's going to test that support. And if buyers are still there and they're interested, it'll barely get to it and it'll fly off of that level. And when you see that type of price action, then you know this is going to be a good entry point for long positions. But if you start chasing up in here on the notion that we're going to break out and make a new all-time high, then you're going to run into problems when you get that retest, because you're going to really be thinking, uh-oh, I jumped the gun and I could have gotten in much better. So wait for a little bit of a pullback in here. If by chance, and this is very unlikely, so let me repeat this is very unlikely right now. We're not going to see a long red candle and a long red candle that poke back below this now support level. And the reason for it is we don't have the news. I need a really weak jobs report. I'm going to be watching initial jobless claims, but I'm not really seeing that in the cards right now. But I do believe that all the inventory that's been built up right now, because companies are trying to front run the tariffs, I believe that productivity or production is going to start going down, and that we're going to see a soft patch this summer. That might take another month or two to play out, but I still believe that that is going to be coming, and that is going to weigh on the market, especially if the Fed is hawkish. So as long as we preserve this support level, I'm cool. Favor the long side. Don't fight the market trend. We've got the breakout that we needed. So yes, favor the long side, buy dips, watch for support at this level to hold. So what about a new trade? What else do we have that I like? Well, if I go in and take a look at my Green Royal Flush search, I do like NVDA. And NVIDIA had this nice breakout above the 100-day and the 200-day moving average yesterday. I believe it's up to about 133 this morning. We'll take a quick look. And yes, it's up at 133.88. I would not chase it, but I do like this breakout. So downward sloping trend line, any kind of pullback that you get to fill in some of the overnight gap that we're going to see today. You want to see support, 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 and you want the market to also show you signs of support. If you get both of those, then I think NVIDIA is going to be a nice trade for you on the upside, but do not chase. This is a really big move. If let's say that the market takes off, and there are a lot of geniuses out there who looked at this wimpy price action and said, oh, the market's going to break out. So now I get to hear from all of those trolls. And you didn't know that news. You didn't know what the outcome was going to be. You guessed. China could have said, go pound sand to Besant. And guess what would have happened? The market would have sold off below the 50-day moving average. That was definitely a possible outcome, especially with the type of rhetoric that we've been hearing from both sides. But that's not what played out. So we didn't take any large positions here. We kept our risk exposure small. That's what you're supposed to do as a trader when you have uncertainty. Now you've got some clarity. Now you know how to position yourself. You don't have to chase. Wait for pullbacks. That'll be your entry point, and that'll give you staying power in the position when you enter well. So that's all I've got for you today. I hope your trading's going well. I will be doing the short videos, so make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because I don't know when I have time to do the shorts. I try and get one out early in the day, and then I do a follow-up later, but they've got trades in them. I watch the market open, I get my feeling for where there might be an opportunity for the day, and then I take a trade. So hopefully those are helping you with your day trading. See you soon. Trade well.
Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.